All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and make one of the more unusual blocks. It's still pretty easy, and it's going to show us a couple new tools that we haven't used yet. We're calling this thing the Shellface. We don't have a good term for it, so excuse the poor name. I'm going to go ahead and create a new design, and let's start this. So this is going to be another one that we're going to do from profile. So I'm going to create a sketch on the right plane. And what I'm going to do is start laying out what this looks like. So I'm going to create a little vertical line here, and I'm going to come out with some horizontal space here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a vertical here, then another horizontal here, and a little bit of vertical here. And you can see that what I've done is just kind of laid out very quickly what this looks like here. All right. Let's break out the dimension tool. So we're going to start with this little flat face. That's going to be our smallest one. That's going to be 1.2 millimeters. That's a constant value in our version of Legos anyway. Now this horizontal is actually going to be 2 studs wide. So remember that's going to be 2 times 8 minus 0.2, which is going to be 15.8. Because I'm not going to generate anything else in this brick, I'm just going to type the values explicitly. All right, this is one layer high. That's going to be 3.2 millimeters. Now I have another horizontal space here. This one actually happens to be a single stud, so that's going to be 7.8. Okay. And then finally, I have this value back here, which is going to be another 3.2 because it is only. All right, so you can see that I have a whole bunch of blacked out lines here, but I don't have that curvy profile. For that, I'm going to break out my spline tool. Now, the secret to a spline tool is you can use it to do things like trace, or you can make kind of complex little curves. Now, if you're going to do complex curves, less spline bit points are better. Okay, so I'm just going to have the 2 endpoints and 1 in the middle. Now I can drag this thing around and get it close to where I want, but we've actually, I think, maybe gotten what the real values for this one should be by accident, and it's just because the numbers are a little too perfect that I think that's what it is. So we're going to go ahead and give them those numbers. I'm going to break out my dimension tool, and I'm going to select the point on the spline right here, and I'm going to select the origin over here. And I'm going to lay that out. I'm going to make this 8 millimeters from there to there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my dimension tool, select that, and select this baseline down here. And I'm actually going to make this 5 millimeters even. So we're going to say 8 millimeters from the origin on this direction and 5 from here. I think this looks pretty close to the block we're trying to model. I can't spot any difference with it to the eye, and it should be good enough. All right, let's go ahead and hit finish sketch. Now, this is only a single stud wide, so that's going to be 7.8 millimeters. All right, now here's where things get a little bit strange with this block. I'm going to go ahead and create a construction plane that I'm going to use here in a second to show you guys something. I'm just going to place that there. It doesn't really matter where. I just need it here. All right. So I don't have any studs to model on top. So that means I can skip to our next normal step, which would be to go ahead and put a shell in here. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and put that 1.2 millimeter shell in here. And you'll see that it didn't do what I want. The bottom of this thing should be shelled here, and it should be shelled here. I'm going to use my section analysis so that we can see inside this. Let me go ahead and go to inspect, pull that down, and you guys can see what the problem is here. I'm going to use this construction plane that I created to show this. And you can see that because there was enough room inside, what it was able to do was it was able to leave a wall thickness of 1.2 millimeters all the way around. That's not what we wanted. All right. So is there any way to configure shell to do this and work this way and fix this? The answer is no, unfortunately. But the good news is there is a workaround. I can't do that because this is a single body, but let me go through here and turn this section analysis and this construction plane off. What I can actually do, however, is I can come through. Let me go ahead and back my timeline back up a little bit. I can come through and split this into two bodies, and it's very, very simple. So I'm going to use my split body tool. I'm going to select the body. Then I need to go to the splitting tool, and I can use either a plane that I've created or I can use a face. I'm going to use this face right here. And you'll notice that I now have two things here. Let me see. I can split these. I can turn them on and off independently of each other. So I have two distinct bodies over here. Now I can use that shell tool. So the reason we make this block is it gives you guys a good idea of how to constrain and control some of these very powerful features. So let's go ahead and knock this out. All right. Now we're almost done. This is actually a pretty easy block once you know the trick, but we need to put it back and make it a single block. So we're going to go back to the tool right next to split, just combine. We're going to click here and hit OK. And we now have a single block. Everything's shelled out where we need. We just need to add our little retention post here, and we're going to call this one good. So this is going to be 2.4 millimeters. And 7.9 from this edge. I can finish that sketch and do my extrude using this profile and do it two objects. So I hit the inside face. And that's it. We have a block that's complete. I'm going to leave it here. The drawing will be in Infinite Campus for you.